Hello everyone and welcome back to Footcast, and today's video I'm going for my championship roundup for game week 33, and this roundup won't include the Sheffield derby between Wednesday and Sheffield United, but most likely we're just going to be talking about a battering of Sheff Wednesday, and they'll probably be relegated to League One. So starting off with West Brom at home to Cov, this was an important game at the opposite ends of the table. West Brom fighting relegation and Cov looking to win the championship or at least get promoted. Once again, Mikey Johnson didn't start in this game. When you're struggling to create chances, it doesn't make sense for me not to start him. He's got the equal most assists in the championship so far this season, and Cov dominated this first half, and they were a real threat down the right hand side, which was Gilchrist's side, who really struggled in this game. Mason Clark put Cov 1-0 up in the first 5 minutes. A good football from Van Uyck to find him. Gilchrist was out of position for this goal. It was poor tracking of Mason Clark and he couldn't clear the ball off the line. Rodoni then made it 2-0, a great strike from outside the box. Once again, Gilchrist at fault, allowing Rodoni to carry the ball way too far and not closing down the shot. Gilchrist was then hooked in the 40th minute, the correct call before half-time. In the second half, there were chances for both sides, but neither side could take them. West Brom did look better when Mikey Johnson came on the pitch and they started to create more. West Brom's midfield and defence was very good in this game. Onyeka has looked great so far in his first two games. Looking at the table, it's a great weekend for Cov, winning their game, and every other side in the top 5 drop points in the championship this weekend, so they've gained on all of them. Looking at West Brom, they're a point clear of the relegation zone ahead of Leicester, but Eric Ramsey still hasn't won a game in charge for West Brom, and I think he's under pressure. He needs to pick up that first win, otherwise he could be sacked. I would definitely consider this, because I don't know how many more games you can give him until you go, you know what, he's not good enough for this level. So then we're on to the next game, which is between Wrexham and Ipswich, and this was a great game with 8 goals in it, and there were so many chances. In the first half, both sides scored 2 goals, a great goal by Kiefer Moore, a great finish, who was excellent in this game, and ran that Ipswich defence ragged. Windass scored a scrappy goal in this half. It was a good finish. And Mehmeti and Azon with 2 good goals for Ipswich. I think Mehmeti's been great so far for Ipswich. Kit Prey actually made it 3-2 in the second half for Ipswich. A great goal from outside the box. After this, however, Ipswich did collapse and Wrexham had some great chances. In my opinion, Wrexham should have also had a penalty. I thought it was a clear foul in the box by Walton, who just took out Doyle completely, but it wasn't given. And the 3 goal scorers for Wrexham in the second half was Thomas and Doyle and Broadhead scoring the goals. This is poor from Ipswich collapsing like this defensively. The last goal's terrible from Darren O'Shea giving the ball away, and it's unacceptable to concede 5 goals, especially when you're a side looking to get promoted from the championship. The defence was atrocious. Looking at Wrexham, the attack was very good for Wrexham in today's game, especially Kiefer Moore. For Wrexham, this is a massive win, and they're now 6th place in the championship, and they're only 3 points behind Ipswich and Hull, but those sides have games in hand. Looking at Ipswich, this is another missed opportunity for Ipswich to climb up the table, but they've failed to do this. So they will remain 4th place in the championship. So then we're on to the next game, which is between Stoke and Leicester. First game in charge for Gary Rowett at Leicester, and it wasn't a good start for Gary Rowett. Stoke going 1-0 up from the corner through a Wilmot header. Poor defending. It's a free header at the back post, and Stoke continued to cause problems from set pieces, and Begovic was forced into a top save against his former club. They also hit the post, and they had a massive chance from a rebound. Big miss, and they should have gone 2-0 up. Mukasa, though, equalised for Leicester in the second half. A good ball into the box, which turned into a shot. Mukasa then got an assist for the second goal, backheeling it to Winks, who smashed it into the back of the net. He was outstanding in this game, and he should have at least got another assist, probably two, and was close to scoring. He's been great so far since coming in on loan from Manchester City, but his efforts were in vain because Stoke equalised through Wilmot, coming up from centre-half, getting his second goal of the game. Once again, it's poor marking at back post. Great delivery from Silver Thomas to find them. And Leicester had chances right at the end. Once again, Mukasa creating chances. One for Luke Thomas, who somehow hit the post, but there were also other chances for Leicester. Based off his first couple of appearances, Mukasa looks like a top player for this level, and he definitely could be Premier League quality, and he could be the reason why Leicester do survive in the Championship. In terms of the table, Leicester are in 22nd place in the Championship, and they're a point away from safety. It's a decent point for Gary Rowett, but they'll be so frustrated by the fact that they didn't win this game, considering that it looked like they were going to go on a win. Looking at the table, this will be a frustrating point for Leicester in this game. It's alright, but they dominated a lot of the game, especially in the second half. They were poor in the first 20 minutes, but apart from that, Leicester were definitely the better side, and they're still a point away from safety because of this. They could have gone clear of the relegation zone. There's also a lot surrounding Leicester right now in terms of the points deduction. There's a chance that Leicester's points deduction gets reduced, or there's a chance it could be increased. Looking at Stoke, it's a bit of a smash and grab picking up a point in this game. They were really good in the first 20 minutes, and they should have really been 2-0 up. But considering how much better Leicester played in the second half, I think Stoke will be happy with a point, which leaves them 15th place in the Championship. They're currently 7 points away from Wrexham in 6th place. I can't see them pushing playoffs. So then we're on to the next game, which was between Millwall and Portsmouth, and it was a massive 3 points on the road for Pompey. In the first half, neither side went in front, but both sides had chances. But Portsmouth at the start of the second half went 1-0 up through Carvalho. John Swift then made it to a great cutback from Ali to find him. I think he's been a real threat recently, has Ali, in terms of creating chances. Millwall then got themselves back into the game, a good finish from Denore to make it 2-1, but Portsmouth after this started to dominate in terms of creating high quality chances, and eventually they made it 3-1 through Pack. Great result for Pompey on the road. This was 4th win on the road for the season, but the second away win in a row. Portsmouth have been performing really well recently, and that now means they're 19th place in the Championship and they're 6 points clear of Leicester. I think they should be fine because I've been really impressed with Portsmouth. For Millwall, it's a poor result. It's not as bad because a lot of the sides around them did drop points, but this result means they're 6 points away from Middlesbrough in second place, and they're 7 points ahead of Birmingham in 7th place. I think Millwall will just finish in the playoffs. I don't really see them pushing automatics, especially with results like that. So then we're on to the next game, which was between Hull and QPR, and this was a big result for QPR away from home. They were really disappointing in their last game against Blackburn. In the first half, Hull had some big chances, but it was QPR who scored the first goal of the game from a corner, an own goal by McNair. It's poor defending from Hull. It's a good ball in from Harvey Vale, though, who created some good chances throughout in this game. Hull then equalised, and this was equally terrible defending, which resulted in Galhart scoring. Then QPR went back ahead, a stunning strike from Benny outside the box, and there was only about 10 minutes left in this game. After this, Hull were forced to push for the equaliser, which was giving QPR some good chances in transition, and they did eventually score through Richard Kone, a great finish after a poor giveaway up the field from Hull. Hull's defence was poor in this game, making mistakes, and they were terrible in the first goal. In terms of the table, Hull City are now 5th place in the Championship, and they've had a really good season. They have tailed off recently, though I haven't been convinced with some recent performances from Hull. It's the first time since August they've dropped points 3 games in a row. For QPR, they're just a very inconsistent side, and they're currently 13th place in the Championship. This is about where I expect QPR to finish by the end of the season. So then we've got Norwich and Birmingham, and this was a massive away win for Birmingham in this game. Norwich were in really good form going into this game. Birmingham scored 2 quick goals in this game through Vincente and Dukes, and it was great passing in behind from Birmingham, Norwich's high line being exposed, and they dominated the first half, and they should have scored more than 2 goals. Norwich had some chances though in this game, a lot in the second half, and James Beadle made some crucial saves. Norwich eventually did find a goal back through Paddy McLean, but it was only a consolation. Frustration for Norwich considering they played well in the second half, but the first 20 just really let them down. For Birmingham, it's a huge win on the road. Beadle deserves huge credit for this win, but the Blues' defence was also good in this game. In terms of the table, Birmingham are now in 7th place in the Championship, and all of a sudden they're looking like a side that can definitely finish in the playoffs. And what I've been saying about this Birmingham side is, first of all, there's a lot of quality in the side. And if they manage to get into playoffs, they're going to be a real threat, because they would have to be in good form to finish in playoffs by the end of the season. And right now, that's exactly what is happening. So I expect this Birmingham side to cause a lot of sides problems. In terms of Norwich are just going to finish somewhere around, you'd expect 15th, 14th place in the Championship, maybe higher because they've been in great form recently, but playoffs do look very unlikely. They're currently 12 points behind Wrexham. If Norwich started the season with Clement, then we'd probably be talking about this Norwich side in playoffs right now, because they've been very good under Clement despite this result in today's game. So then we're on to the next game, which is between Watford and Derby, and this was a big win for Watford in this game, who haven't won since the new year, and Ed Still's first win as manager. Watford win 1-0 up early in this game through Kieran Gard, a goal which Derby should have dealt with better, clearing the ball away. They had so many opportunities, and it's poor keeping by Vickers. The ball goes straight down the middle. Derby were poor in the first half, only having 1 shot. And in the second half, it was better from Derby, but they still only had 4 shots in the second half. And it's not good enough, creating nowhere near enough against an out of sorts Watford side. The Carlton Morris did have a good chance, but it was a poor header by him. And overall, Derby were poor in this game individually. Doumbia did score for Watford to seal a 2-0 win over Derby late in the game. It appeared to be offside in the build-up, but it doesn't matter because there's no VAR in the Championship. I would say a deserved win for Watford in this game. They were largely dominant. This leaves Watford 9th place in the Championship, level on points with Derby, and these two sides are 3 points away from Wrexham in 6th place. It's so tight around that area in the Championship right now. So then we've got the next game between Southampton and Charlton, and Southampton were completely on top in this first half, as you'd expect, but they were unable to find the goal. There was a clearance off the line and they hit the crossbar. Charlton offered little to nothing in the first half, and Ross Stewart did make it 1-0 to the Saints just after halftime. A great header, a brilliant ball in from Cienza. He's a top player and easily Southampton's best player. Dykes then had a goal disallowed in the second half. I can't understand the call for this because it doesn't appear to hit his hand, and I think it's a wrong call by the referee. Carey then equalised for Charlton. Peretz needed to do better. He got a hand to the ball, but he couldn't prevent it from going in. Charlton were the better side actually in the second half, and they had chances to win it, but it's still a good point on the road for Charlton. And what Charlton are doing is they just continuously pick up a point or 3 points very frequently, and that now means they're 17th place in the Championship, and they are 7 points clear of Leicester. I think Charlton will be absolutely fine. Looking at Saints are currently 11th place in the Championship, and if they won this game, they would have moved into the top 8, and they would have only been 2 points behind Wrexham in 6th place. So it's a big opportunity gone to waste, and they would have expected to win this game. So then we've got the Lancashire derby on the Friday night between Preston and Blackburn, and there was a lack of chances in the first half. Preston hit the post in the second half. Alfie Devine, great delivery from the corner. After this, Blackburn started to build pressure and have chances, and they should have made it 1-0 earlier in the game, but the goal did come in the last moments through an Ohashi header after a cash-in delivery. A great moment for those Blackburn fans who have had a difficult season so far, and it's a great win for Blackburn and a deserved win based off the second half performance. Preston were poor, only having 3 shots against a side that's in a relegation scrap, and Preston were very average in this game. Cashin was excellent for Blackburn once again, and McLaughlin was good handling the threat of Osmajic. In terms of the table, Blackburn are currently 20th place in the Championship, and they are now 5 points clear of Leicester, and a gap starting to be created between West Brom in 21st and Blackburn in 20th place. It's a big win, and it's a big win at home because home form's been a problem for them this season. They're currently 21st on the home table. Looking at Preston, they're currently in 10th place in the Championship, and right now I just don't really fancy the side to get into the playoffs, especially with performances like that. It wasn't good enough away at Blackburn. So then we've got the next game, which is between Swansea and Bristol City. Both sides had chances in the first half, mainly half chances, but it was Swansea who went 1-0 up through Vopotnik on the volley. Such a clinical finisher, and it could only be him. He's such a good striker for this level, the top Championship goal scorer. And this was the winning goal. Vigouroux made some great saves in the second half, and they hit the post through a great strike by Reese. The dip was incredible. But overall, Bristol City didn't create enough in this game, and it came down to superior finishing because Swansea have a player like Vopotnik. In terms of the table, Swansea are now 14th place in the Championship. Relegation, they don't have to worry about. In terms of promotion, they're 6 points behind Wrexham in 6th place. Looking at Bristol City, they are 4 points behind Wrexham in 12th place. As I was saying earlier in the video, it's very tight around that region of the table. So then we've got the final game, which is between Borough and Oxford. It's very rare I talk about Borough. It's the last game, but it was a goalless draw between these two sides. A really disappointing result for Borough. They had 24 shots in this game. They should have converted one of these chances, and they only created a couple of high quality chances. Conway had a big chance in this game. Borough were average across the board. Oxford also had some chances in this game on the break, but they were unable to find the net. Looking at the table, it's a really disappointing result for Borough in this game. They're now 3 points off Coventry, who are in first place, but they are still 6 points clear of Millwall, and they are 8 points clear of Ipswich, despite Ipswich having 2 games in hand. But this was a massive opportunity against a struggling Oxford side in 23rd place, and they needed a response after the defeat against Coventry. Looking at Oxford, it's a great point on the road, but I think it's going to be in vain because they are 5 points away from West Brom. They need to start picking up wins against the sides lower in the table. Let me know your thoughts on this Championship roundup. What was your favourite game? And if you enjoyed this video, great, subscribe to the channel as well as liking the video.